Officer Roger Smith worked for Wake Med for more than a decade. He was beloved across the community. WRAL's Heidi Kirk joins us live from Garner. And Heidi, what questions are you working to answer today?
Renee, we have so many questions. There's really just a lack of clarity overall when it comes to exactly what led up to that shooting here at the emergency department that ultimately killed Officer Smith. Now, you can see a photo of him here. Yesterday, we talked to people who knew him, and you really just echoed that sentiment. He was beloved. Now, Wake Med confirmed that a struggle led up to the shooting in the emergency department's lobby. Now, we want to know, what did that struggle look like? Whose gun was used in the shooting? A lot of questions still hanging out there. Now, police say Martin is currently in custody and under medical supervision, but when he is released from the hospital, Martin will be taken to the Wake County Detention Center. Now, we have posed lots of those questions to Garner Police, the SBI, and of course, right here at Wake Med, trying to get those answers. Throughout the day, we are going to be pressing those officials for the answers, and we'll bring you whatever we get in our newscast tonight. Heidi Kirk, WRAL News in Garner.
Hey, yo, what up, my 1751 family? I'd like to thank you all for tuning in, man. For those of you who have already smashed and subscribed, I'd like to take my hat off to y'all, man. Y'all ongoing support means so much to me in this channel, man. Help us go a long way. And for those of you who enjoy watching these videos, man, but you have yet to smash and subscribe, go on and take a second, go on over, smash and subscribe, and don't forget to hit the bell notification while you're at it. Anyway, today, man, we're going to be reviewing a case coming out of North Carolina. Yeah, the Carolinas. Where we have a mental health situation, in which many of you know, a lot of times when you have mental health situations, you have, people have the police called on them, and the police come out, they don't know how to deal with the situation, and they end up, causing a very, unfortunate outcome, right? When dealing with these people, right? Now we have a guy by the name of Benji Martin Jr. Benji Martin Jr., right? Now, this guy's story is, quite interesting to say the least. Now, this guy was said to not always been a mental health patient, but he has been having some quite interesting experiences lately since, him and his fiance were said to be expecting, a child, in which they were blessed with twins, right? So Benji Martin Jr. and his fiance was blessed with twins, but unfortunately, one of those twins didn't live, right? And that happening to a person can really, can really do some things to the mental. And that's what it looked like happened here with Mr. Benji Jr., right? Now, he was said by, friends and family members that he's been acting strange ever since that happened. He's been doing some things that's questionable to his mental state. He's been experiencing mental health issues ever since that incident occurred, right? Now, there was a friend who claimed that Mr. Martin, one day randomly after all of this happened, he went down to the store where you buy edibles, and many of you guys know about the edibles, and how potent it can be, right? Just one, especially if you don't smoke weed or you don't drink and stuff like. You take one edible, man, it can really do some things. It can really put you in a different place, But Mr. Martin was said to have went down to the edible store and bought a bag of edibles, in which he then took all of them at once. He took all of them at once. And a friend of his, after calling and texting and not getting a response from Mr. Martin, a friend by the name of Josh went by to check on his homeboy. And upon doing so, entering into Martin's house, Mr. Josh found Martin unresponsive, comatose, foaming at the mouth, seemingly overdosed, right? Mr. Josh got Mr. Martin to the hospital, to the ER, where a lot of in the ER there's a lot of commotion sometimes. You got many people there with different issues. They want to be seen. They have family members that may have an urgent situation and that's not being treated as such, and a lot of times in the ER, they tell people that they got to sign in and take a seat, and sometimes you come in and you're really in need of assistance, medical assistance, and these people don't seem to understand or care, about what's going on with you and your family member, your loved ones, right? Now, Mr. Martin was said to have been in the emergency room acting erratic. He's irritated for whatever it is that's bothering him, not to mention all the weight that he's carrying. Mr. Martin was said to have been acting erratic in the emergency room, causing disturbance, right? And upon him causing disturbance in the emergency room, someone gestured to the police officer. We'll just call him Mr. Smith, Officer Smith. Someone gestured to the police officer to go handle this guy Martin. And this officer, a white officer, shall I say? I don't want to leave that out. This officer, Officer Smith, he approaches Mr. Martin, already seeing that Mr. Martin is acting erratic, but this officer, whatever he said, whatever approach that this Officer Smith took, it didn't de-escalate, the erratic behavior of Mr. Martin. It only escalated from the time they interacted, right? And upon them having a physical interaction with each other, grabbing on each other, I'm hearing that they say that the officer flew into top flight officer mode. He grabbed Mr. Martin, but key factor, it was said that from the moment Officer Smith encountered Martin, officer already unsnapped his holster and had his hand on his firearm, right? Interesting, right? In the ER, right? Officer Smith was said to have been grabbing on Mr. Martin to the point where Mr. Martin seen the gun. Tensions was high. People were yelling. Martin noticed Officer Smith had his hand on his firearm, and he pleaded to Officer Smith not to shoot him. Not to shoot him. And as they continued to interact with each other, and the officer holding on Mr. Martin, sometime along that time period, from the time he approached him in the interaction, there was a shot fired. Right? That first shot was fired. I don't know why the firearm even left the holster in the ER when there was no threat. There was no weapons spotted by the officer or anything. My question is, why did this firearm find his way off of this officer's waist in this altercation, right? Major key figure, a major key factor. Big questions, man. You know, explanations, man. You know, we need answers, man. You know, and this officer Smith pulled the gun off his waist, and upon struggling with Mr. Martin, this officer, whether accidentally or purposely, he fired a shot. And that first shot struck Mr. Martin in the stomach. In the stomach, right? And soon right after the first shot, there was another shot going off, right? Where Officer Smith then shot himself in the leg. So this officer was all over the place, man. Whatever the hell was going on with this officer, you know, he doesn't sound like a responsible gun owner or anybody that should be possessing a firearm. You know, you just busting shots off, you know, and you know. Anyway, the officer then shot himself in the leg. The third shot is the shot that's in question. You know, this is the fatal shot to the officer. Now, understand this. Mr. Martin never possessed a firearm, right? The only way Mr. Martin could have shot this officer is if he, you know, wrestled that gun out of this officer's hand and then proceeded to shoot the officer, which is said that that's not the case. There were many witnesses in the ER. I mean, of course, this is emergency room. You know, they're always packed. Now, after these shots go off, Mr. Martin is arrested. He's thrown in cuffs. Officer Smith is rushed off to get treated for his wounds, right? And you know, where unfortunately this officer succumbed to his injuries. You know, Officer Smith unfortunately didn't make it, right? Now, we all know, man, that when anything happens to an officer and it's involving a civilian, a citizen, they will always try to find a way to not just take that lick as the officer shot himself.
Officer Roger Smith, they say he was working in the lobby of the facility when there was a struggle with another man. Smith ended up getting shot and later died from his injuries. 29-year-old Benji Martin Jr. has been charged with murder in connection to this shooting, and the facility closed down for most of the day, but has since reopened. ABC 11's John Dowding has more on this developing story.
A hero died today at the Wake Med Garner Healthplex, and now, more than 12 hours after the shooting shocked the community, the crime scene tape is down and the facility is back open as investigators work to figure out exactly what happened. Tonight, a Garner man is facing murder charges in connection to a shooting that killed a Wake Med police officer. Wake Med officials say a struggle happened between Wake Med officer 59-year-old Roger Smith and another person. Hours later, Garner police announced Smith died after being shot in the struggle.
Roger was injured and unfortunately died from that. Trying to save the lives of the workers here at Wake Med and other people that were in the lobby.
Garner police said they had someone in custody following the shooting and announced the arrest of 29-year-old Benji Martin Jr., charging him with murder.
You know, so it's really a no-brainer. You know, it's suspected that they would say Mr. Martin shot this officer, you know, trying to make Mr. Martin seem like the cold-blooded, you know, middle-aged black man, you know, and you know the way the world, you know, portrays black men, the image of a middle-aged black man, you know, whether you're a good man or you know, whether you're a civilized human being, tax-paying citizen or not, you know, it's almost believed that every black man, middle-aged black man that dress a certain way, that look a certain way, have certain tattoos. We're all just painted with the same brush. You know, we're all just painted with the same brush because this is what the media lays their attention on time after time. You know, they like to keep us in the media for the worst of us. You know, understand that. They only polarize the worst of us, the worst of our actions. You know, the worst of us, man. You know, the degeneracy. You know, but Mr. Martin, although he fits that description, right? That the the world likes to paint, all black men as dangerous, disturbing, uneducated, just all the negative things that they can paint on us, in society, right? But this black man here, Mr. Martin, although he was arrested for this officer succumbed to his injuries, being unalived, the witnesses from the ER, from the emergency room, these people, they claim that Mr. Martin, although he was erratic, he was acting erratic, he was not a threat to anyone. He was not a danger. No one felt in danger. No one felt that Mr. Martin was going to hurt someone or hurt himself or anything. He was just acting erratic, which is a common thing in emergency rooms. Now, Mr. Martin, of course, Mr. Martin was charged with the death of this officer, right? But just understand this, man. As a black man in America, man, I don't care how good of a person you are or you think you are. I don't care how many starch, press, tailored suits you have in your closet, how pretty your tie is, how much money you think you got, how much power and influence you think you got. When these people decide that you are the guy that they want to make a suspect out of, trust me, trust and believe, they do not need any evidence. They do not need any evidence. There are black men sitting on death row right now because the state needed to close a case and he fit the description, right? All they needed was one person. That's a random person. You have situations where you have detectives, district attorneys using the statements of other prisoners, right, to lower their sentence, making deals with other criminals to bring a new, inmate into the jailhouse off the streets so that they can close the case. And once they plaster your face all over the news and they convince everybody that you're the guy, it becomes an emotional community type of situation. Now, they make it even harder for you to dig your way out of that hole that they put you in. Because now you have the community showing up to court. You have the community with high emotions, and they don't want to see you free because the judge and the DA and the detectives, they did a damn good job as painting you as the villain, painting you as the suspect. These type of things happen every day, man. This is not new. This is nothing new. And it will continue happening, man. We have to wake up. We have to wake up, man, and understand that, just because we live a good life and we're good people doesn't mean, we're exempt. Doesn't mean that we're excluded from the reality that we live in. you know, where you just a you know, you're just a black man, you know. You're just a black man. They don't value your life, you know. They don't value the lives of black men or black women for that matter, no more than they value the life of a lot lizard or a hooker, right? You know they say when hookers come up missing, no one misses them. You know, no one care. You know, it's the same way. You know, a lot of these white folks feel about black folks. You know, no one cares. They don't value your life. You know, these judges, man, they get these seats. They get these seats. A lot of times they're related. Other times they're close friends. You know, might as well be related. They do everything together. Wives and kids play together. You know, they use each other's connections to get through life and all of that. So once you get tangled up in a situation involving these people, man, it is a very hard, you know, situation to free yourself from when they want you to be the guy, right? Or they want you to be wrong. You know, now this officer, man, this officer was said to have been the aggressor. He was said to have been the one who approached Mr. Martin and overdid it. He overdid it, man. You know, he took his gun off his waist. No one questioned that. Even the news article, they never even mentioned that Mr. Martin got shot. They never even mentioned that Mr. Martin was shot. Ain't that some shit? You know, they purposely, intentionally focused directly on that officer, you know, and how he was a good person, and you know, how you know, he was a great officer, you know, policing the community, and you know, just all his accolades, right? But Mr. Martin also had, you know, people had good things to say about Mr. Martin also, right? Mr. Martin was he didn't have a criminal record. He was never arrested. You know, family and friends say he could have never done something like this. You know, it's just not in his character. You know, Mr. Martin was not the guy that they painted him out to be, right? But like I said, man, when them folks got they claws in you, man, you know, it's almost impossible. It's almost impossible to free yourself, you know. So I say all that to say, man, as a black man, you know, just try to analyze every situation, man, and make the smartest decisions. You know, don't do anything that will likely put you in harm and hinder all the good that you start. You know, and just try to go day through day, man. You know, just avoiding drama, you know, avoiding negativity, right? Although it can come to you, you know, as a black man, negativity come knocking at your door, man. You can be in the house with your family. If they want you to be the guy, they will come and drag you out of your bed, man, and make you the guy. That's just the way it is here in America, man. You know, as sad as it sounds, that's the reality, man, that we live in here in America. You know, anyway, I will be updating this case if any more facts about the case becomes available. I will be updating it, you know, and we will review it together as I get more information. But until next time, it's your boy, Mr. 1751, bringing you another 1751 review. And until next video, yo, if you enjoy watching videos like these, make sure that you like, comment, subscribe. Help your boy get into the algorithm so that I can continue to bring you more videos just like the one you just watched. Anyway, till next time, y'all stay up.
Active shooter at WakeMed and Garner.
To anyone on scene for a patient count. I need a patient count.
It's going to be a 50-year-old male DSW. It's going to be a WakeMed officer.
First responders rushing to the scene after WakeMed campus police officer Roger Smith was gunned down in the emergency room after a struggle with someone in the lobby.
I started kind of searching social media and news accounts and stuff, just trying to find a picture so I could confirmed my worst suspicions.
Stephen Moore was high school best friends with Smith at Garner Senior, now called Garner Magnet High School. Also working as a security officer, taking the time to speak with me on the phone about his friend.
Pretty much running the whole gamut of shock and disbelief.
29-year-old Benji Martin Jr. has been arrested and charged with murder.
A gut punch like it always is. You know, you always hope and pray that the officer who's injured in the line of duty is going to pull through.